Hi there, I am Becky Amble, and I want to share an AI tip with you. And I'm going to share my screen and we will get this going. All righty. This was something I did in Claude. If I can move that up so you can see it. Anyway, what I want to do is give you just a little background first. And what I had done is a friend of mine in LinkedIn had done a poll, and it was a poll asking people about artificial intelligence. So, of course, my interest was piqued, and I decided that I was going to copy those comments from the poll and organize the information. So first thing I did, I'll just show you here, was I went to the LinkedIn poll that she had, and I copied all of the information. You could see there I made a comment and got all this stuff and just copied it all. Okay, enough of that one. Now we're going to go back to Claude. And here we are in Claude, and you can see, here's my post or my prompt. I said, delete the photos and only analyze the comments from the participants, not the person asking, whose name is Mindy Stern. So you can eliminate her comments and use all the other ones that people made, categorize, summarize, put together comments that are similar, and give me a frequency distribution of the answers for each category that you came up with. And all I did here was took that document and did a command all, copy all type of thing and pasted it in. And this is Claude. So I pasted it in and then it went to town and did the analysis. And here's what it came back and told me, that there were certain categories. They had 5 categories, and AI as an efficiency and time saver. That was the largest group, 9 comments. And again, this wasn't a huge poll. Anyway, I just wanted to see how it would come out if it was summarized and put together a little bit of statistics. Second category, AI as a thinking partner or strategic enhancer. There were 5 people that commented on that. And category 3, caution about over reliance and quality control. 3 people commented on that. Category 4, tool preferences and experimentation, 2 comments. And then the 5th category that the Claude AI decided to use was in specific professional domains, where people said something relating to their specific work area. Now, what happened was it put this together in a nice visual for me. There were 22 comments and 5 categories, and the top theme was people using AI for efficiency. Okay, good enough. And here you can see it gave me a bar chart with just a representation of how that would look from a frequency situation. So the first one, the top one here is 41%, and it ended up being how many people? 9 comments. So you can see over here, this just gave us along the bottom axis the number of people that made this particular comment. So I thought, well, that's kind of nice. I like that. And then it actually did another breakdown and told me about that. Well, then what I did is I said, please put it into a nice table like you did for this was a client research with the most common answers and frequencies. I don't need names, although job information would be interesting to include. So I had it reformat, and I had used this for some client research, and I thought it did a really nice job. So I decided I'm going to give it directions that are a little bit more specific. So remember, when we do prompting, one of the elements that we use, and that is under CLEAR, if you remember my prompting mnemonic for you, the A stands for adjust and refine, and that's the iteration, which is what I'm doing here. I'm saying, hey, you gave me this output and you group things and you gave me some statistics, all that stuff. However, I want it to look a little bit different like you did on this other study for me. So I am going to show you that because this download, having done this just a little bit ago, somehow doesn't want to share that. So I'm going to share it this way in a document. And what I did was paste it into the document. And so here are the poll results from Mindy Stern's poll. And so here's the LinkedIn comments. And I said to it, give me the category, give me the count or how many said this, and the frequency. So that's a percentage. And also give me the roles that they had and tell me what they're saying, the top themes. So I think this is just a really great way to use things. And this is done in Canva. Again, remember, be specific. If you've got a form or some kind of a research document that you've used before that you like, copy and paste that in. Remember, one of the other things that we want to do is give AI an example. Otherwise, I gave it some clear direction here, and I had it do this previously. So it kind of had that still left over and knew what I was talking about. And again, you may not be a researcher. That doesn't matter. If you have some kind of a group discussion, could be just a team meeting, could be any number of things where you go, you know what? Let's organize those thoughts and let's see how the breakdown comes. If you're doing some brainstorming for a new product or service or how to make improvements or whatever it might be, catch that information. I say for most things that we're doing, record your meetings. And then you'll have this information, and you might say, well, let's just look at it a different way. Let's see if those comments that we made in our brainstorming session, or whatever it might have been, fall into certain buckets, because sometimes it's harder to do that on our own. Or I recall in my many research projects, I would have things spread all over the floor. Sometimes it would take me 2 to 3 days because I was trying to categorize things and then I was moving them into different categories. So this is where AI can be a great resource. And again, if you're doing real scientific and real qualitative or quantitative research, then you want to be careful with how you're using AI and make sure it does give you the right information. For something like this, I just wanted to get a feel for what were the responses like. If you're doing a brainstorming session, maybe you want to take those ideas and put them into buckets, or maybe there's some other kind of a meeting that you're having and you just want to have it organize the comments that were made. So think about doing that. It's just as simple as it can be. And again, if you've got a sample of what you want it to look like, give that to your AI. Otherwise, there is nothing wrong with iterating. Let it go through, give it directions and tell it what you want. And if it doesn't come back quite right, then tell it again, make me a table, put a heading in, do this, do that. Let me know if you use this and what you think. I just think it's a great way to help organize thoughts and get things a little bit, sometimes in a nicer presentation format, especially if it's something we want to share with people and say, hey, these are the highlights that came from our meeting, and share how it goes into certain categories if you were brainstorming or talking about specific topics or whatever. And if you're doing research, hey, do that as well. That's what I wanted to share with you. Let me know if you